Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Ryan Haywood.
Get ready to grind for some light, PC gamers. It sounds like Destiny 2 is going to be making its way to your platform of choice.
Alright, well it seems that once again Bungie is leaking Destiny news like crazy because we've got a whole bunch of new information about the sequel to the divisive MMO-ish shooter, including word that it might be an entire reboot that won't port over any of the current game's content.
Yes, these Destiny 2 leaks come from a number of places, including NeoGAF, independent sources from Kotaku, and a trusted industry insider, each corroborating the information of the others. That doesn't necessarily make them all true, but it's a little bit more credible than, like, my uncle works at Activision.
How'd you know?
Everyone's uncle works at Activision or Nintendo,
they
one of the two.
They do own half the world. Funnily enough, that's how this basically started. Yesterday, a poster named Benny_A wrote into NeoGAF saying that he has a friend at Activision who gave him the scoop on some various Destiny 2 tidbits. Namely, that it's coming to PC and that it will finally have matchmaking for its raids. And that Activision subsidiaries High Moon and Vicarious Vision are assisting with development.
So the first two bits of that rumor are easy wish list leaks for someone to make up, but that last bit is a little bit more specific. Vicarious Vision is Activision's studio responsible for much of the Skylanders series, while High Moon worked on 2013's Deadpool.
And if that's where the information stopped, we really wouldn't have much of a story here. But luckily, Kotaku's Jason Schreier weighed in after the rumor surfaced and reported that he's been hearing some of the same information from his sources within Bungie.
Yeah, Schreier's proved extremely reliable with Destiny information in the past. In 2015, he reported about last year's expansion, The Taken King, before that was officially announced. He also reported last fall that Destiny would be foregoing the regular paid DLC plan in favor of cosmetic microtransactions and free content updates instead. He also broke the story about the messy behind-the-scenes journey of Destiny's development and also provided accurate leaks earlier this year about the just-released Rise of Iron, so he's okay.
Yeah, it seems like he's got his, finger on the pulse. Wait, oh damn, I'm dead.
Yeah, you've always been dead.
Just inside. So he knows some people at Bungie who like blabbing proprietary information to him. Go figure, he's a news person. And in his account from yesterday, he adds even more details to the original rumor from NeoGAF. First, he corroborated information posted by Benny_A about Vicarious Vision and High Moon working on the game, stating he's been hearing the same thing for a few weeks. In addition, he confirmed the rumor that Destiny 2 is making its way to PC.
But perhaps even more interesting than the whole PC thing, the report also goes into some details about what players can expect from Destiny 2 content-wise and how it continues the story and the content from Destiny 1. And according to Kotaku's sources, Destiny 2 may actually be a total refresh for the series, leaving Destiny 1 behind completely.
Yes, just like every time they release a new expansion pack and you have to just basically start over because everything you have is worthless. It would make perfect sense. Sorry,
so
editorializing.
So salty, Ryan.
Schreier writes that the developers he's spoken to have basically said Destiny 2 will be starting from scratch. Another person familiar with the development said Destiny 2 is a completely different game. And another source indicated that while the Taken King expansion was a reboot for Destiny 1 in terms of small gameplay mechanics, Destiny 2 is a reboot for the bigger picture. The new game will focus on bigger playable areas, towns, outposts, and more interesting quests.
Will they have time to tell you why they don't have time to explain?
They do not.
The report also states that there was a reorganization within Bungie back in April, which placed Taken King's director Luke Smith as the director for Destiny 2. That's certainly a welcome sign for the game's fans, as Taken King is credited as one of the main pieces of content that helped right the wayward ship that was Destiny. It actually had a much more coherent story, and it fixed a lot of the progression issues that players had complained about during the first year of the game.
Yeah, backing up all these additional sources is famed industry insider Shinobi, who's almost always spot on with his comments.
And a ninja.
I mean, that's how he's always spot on. He's lurking in corners and
he's hanging from ceilings because for some reason no one ever looks up and goes, why is there someone hanging from the ceiling?
That's ducting up there. Everyone knows that. In recent months, he's been right on the money with leaks of Dead Rising 4, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and Skyrim Remastered, among many others.
On NeoGAF, Shinobi posted a huge dump of information similar to Schreier's, with some additional details about why Bungie would want to shift away from Destiny's old content and characters altogether, rather than treating Destiny like an ongoing MMO like World of Warcraft.
Shinobi, who also confirmed that Destiny is coming to PC, said that much of the reason is for technical limitations, as Destiny was designed with last generation in mind. Also,
how short-sighted.
I mean, it's the new day, new dawn. Come on, step forward. We're all going to be on PC soon. Also,
even consoles will be PCs soon.
They are already.
But I mean, like PCer. I mean, like, you know,
PCer.
PCer.
They're gonna out PC the PCs.
They're gonna be very polite, and they're never gonna say anything that could be remotely offensive.
I'd find that unlikely. Also, the framework of the existing game makes it extremely hard to update, and the developers quickly realized that at the rate players consume content for the game, they have to be able to update it regularly. Destiny 2 will have a much more regular content support.
He also said that the new playable areas reported by Kotaku are going to be massive, like really, really big. The new one planned for Saturn is bigger than all of the current game's playable areas combined, just if that gives you some context. Plus, the engine is getting huge rendering changes, and the story will be getting a total overhaul. Does that mean you'll be getting a story?
I think that just means someone's gonna write one.
Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I fell off of Destiny pretty early on before it got all the story elements, so I'm working on that dated information anyway. I could use a whole new story. Schreier said the same thing, calling Destiny 2's story a reboot of sorts.
That's where the of sorts comes in. It's hard to reboot a computer that doesn't exist. Shinobi echoed some of Schreier's other comments as well, saying that Bungie still hasn't decided what to do about old content, and that it may show up as areas to retake in Destiny 2. Apparently, we can also expect new factions, enemies, and possibly even new classes.
So while the idea of a complete reboot for a game that capitalizes on all the promises Bungie originally made for Destiny 1 sounds really awesome, it does call into question whether or not players will be able to keep the characters they've spent hundreds of hours with, on average.
You remember all those promises we made for Destiny 1? We totally made it for Destiny 2. That would probably be a sore spot for the game's obsessive fanbase, who spend an inordinate amount of time actually playing the game, figuring out ways to three-man the new raid and break complex code-based ARGs. Back in May, Activision's quarterly report said that the average Destiny player has logged 100 hours on their account.
I mean, think about it, that's a lot for an average. That means that people like Eddy are pulling it way up. You're making up for me, Eddy. I appreciate that. In reality, it seems like Bungie has been stuck between a rock and a hard place. They could revamp all of Destiny 2 in such a way that they're able to better support it and leave the old gen behind, or they could stick with a system that wasn't entirely working for players' needs. Unfortunately, the trade-off might be that players lose their gear and their characters. That's going to be a trade-off that some people love and some people hate a whole bunch.
Every time anybody talks about Destiny, it's inevitably asked, people still play Destiny? And the answer is yes. By the millions. Of course, you'd totally be forgiven if you didn't know that because you checked out the game early on and found it void of, actual meaningful content and substance. But to be fair, the game has been massively reworked since its launch.
Yeah, and in that same quarterly report we just mentioned, Activision also claimed Destiny's got 30 million registered players, and in Q2, they reported that monthly average users and average time spent had only increased from Q1. Now, to be fair, that's not necessarily average monthly users, but it's still a significant amount, and that's without even being on PC to begin with.
The new reports about Destiny 2 also state that between the 3 studios supporting the new game, there are a total of 750 plus developers working on it. Yeah, it's
a lot of developers. That's a lot of heads.
It's not the kind of muscle Activision would throw at a game that nobody's playing.
Right. It also says a lot about how Activision views Destiny in terms of a long-term investment, with World of Warcraft numbers slipping a little bit each year. Still super profitable, but they are coming down a little bit by bit, and then they release a new thing and it goes back up. It's like this. It's just slowly.
A roller coaster of
the
business.
ceiling is slowly getting a tiny bit lower.
Oh, come a sine wave.
And they feel like Destiny's apparently got the player base they think can maybe supplant their aging fantasy MMO.
Destiny 2 is due out sometime in fall 2017. There's really no telling when we'll actually get the reveal for the game, but now that Rise of Iron has been officially released and all its content gobbled up, it's only a matter of time before Bungie finally reveals it to the public. And judging from all these reports, it seems PC players will finally be able to join the Guardians, constantly waiting for more to do.
What do you guys think about Destiny 2 coming to PC finally and rebooting the series? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates on the continual grind for more light, like this video and subscribe to The Know.
You'll never have enough light.
I really don't.
That's really what that comes down to.
I'm light low. First, he corroborated the information. Corroborated.
He
He
corroborated.
We very quiet. I'm corroborating information.
It's very, very serious.